Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the 1111 Matrix Code Revealed. As always, you know who I am. But for those who are new to the channel, my name is Garrett King, and for the next little bit, I will be your host. So, let's talk about something interesting and new that I found over the weekend. Now, what I was doing is I was looking at the code within a code. For those of you who have been watching the videos, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who are new, and this is the first video that you're watching, you're going to have to go back a couple of videos, and so you'll know what I'm talking about when I refer to the code within a code. But that is what we're looking at on the screen here. So I was looking at this over the weekend, and I was just kind of wondering if there were certain terms that I found within this code that might show up within the Bible code. See if there's some sort of connection. And I believe I have found one, and it's incredibly interesting what it seems to be suggesting, okay? So before I show that, I just want to show you a couple of things here real quick. So going back to this original code within a code, the very first line, well, it starts with the number 37, which, as we all know, plays very heavily into this 1111 matrix code. But the very first line here that's in orange has the value of 171 and is the word in Greek for the word again, okay? Again, suggesting that, as I talked about, you know, if we're dealing with a reset, that it's happened before, it's going to happen again. Now, what was really interesting, and I've shown this before, but we have the word again here at the very beginning. But it also shows up, and I can't remember if it's here. Let's look. Yes. So this orange line, again, has the value of 171. But this first line in the second portion where the Star of David or the Star of Creation shows up also has the same value. So from this column here, column A, all the way over to, what is it, column AJ, it all has the value of 171, okay? So we can see it right down here, 171. And again, that would be the value for the word again. So I was just scrolling through, and again, like I said, I was looking for certain phrases, keywords that might show up in the Bible code. And as I was scrolling down, my eyes locked onto this one right here that has the value of 360, okay? 360 is the value or the degrees giving to a full circle, so 360 degrees, but it also formed the shape of the cross within the Star of David or the Star of Creation. So it's this whole yellow portion here that forms this cross. It's 360, and the phrase was creator of the world. So I thought, okay, let's plug that in to the Bible code and see what comes up. Well, interestingly enough, the exact same phrase showed up in the Bible code. And so here it is. And it's in red, going straight down, and even includes this letter right here that's in blue. Now, the reason it's in blue is because there's another word that crosses it. And the word that crosses it is incredibly interesting. So keep in mind, in red, going vertically, straight up and down, we have creator of the world. And the blue word, which is crossing it, is God. Okay? Yahweh. It is the name of God. It's crossing creator of the world. And then interestingly enough, right next to it in this green color, this sort of fluorescent green, is the word allegory. Okay? Allegory. Now, I've put the definition of allegory down here. So an allegory is the rhetorical strategy of extending a metaphor through an entire narrative. Now, think about this definition very carefully. So again, an allegory is the rhetorical strategy of extending a metaphor through an entire narrative. Thus, it's a longer description, illustration, analogy, or comparison than a simile or a metaphor would be. In an allegory, any objects, persons, and actions in the text are a part of that large metaphor and equate to meanings that lie outside the text. Think about that. It equates to meanings that lie outside of the text. In other words, hidden meanings, in a sense. Now, let's move forward here just a second. So, down here at the bottom in purple, we have the word light. Okay, light. And then next to creator of the world, once more, the word simulation shows up. Simulation. And then running diagonally next to simulation is the word loaded. Okay? Such as a loaded simulation. We have loaded the program. Or God has loaded the program. And then, incredibly interesting, over here in this light blue, we get the word again. Okay, and it's going diagonally. Again. So, it just struck me as incredibly odd, but not too odd, because none of this strikes me as odd anymore. But the connections are just incredibly accurate. So we have creator of the world that showed up in the 1111 matrix code, the code within a code, creator of the world, the word again. We have the light right here, 212. It's this line right here, the light that showed up. Now, I want to talk about the first book of the Bible and what I think, and this is just my thoughts, okay? I'm not saying that this is exactly how things are. I'm just looking at the deeper meanings that lie outside the text and what this may actually be telling us. Okay, so let's just look at the first few verses of the Bible, of Genesis, okay? Now, one of the things that's interesting to me is that in Hebrew, the line is, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, okay? Heavens with an S. But that has been changed in the King James Bible and in just the English Bible, okay? So it reads, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the same thing is over here. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Only in Hebrew is it heavens with an S, okay? The original text of the Bible. Okay, so as it reads, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. I'm going to say heavens, okay? And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. All right. Actually, let's go on for just one more. And it goes on to say, "And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day." Now, all of this is interesting when you stop and think that God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Well, what is that light? What is the light that is being referred to here? Many of us think it's the sun. But that's not the case, because further down, God said, let's go. Yes. "And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. And let them be for the signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth." And it was so. Okay. And then down here in verse 17, it says, "And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness." Now, this is interesting because it's talking about dividing the light from the darkness, but that was already said up above. Okay? God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God divided the light from the darkness. So what are these two separate lights? Well, one of them, further down, is obviously the sun and the moon. Okay? Because it says that he created a light for the day, and he created a lesser light for the night. So this original light, what was it? I have a theory, and it's just a theory, okay? But let's go and look at, let's open this up here real quick. So the very first line in Genesis in Hebrew, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." But let's just look at the first 4 words. In the beginning, God created, and then there's this word in red. Okay, we've talked about this before. I've talked about how some people have told me that the translation of this word is "the," and others have said that it's a bridge word. But it's something else, and I believe I've spoken of this, and if not, then this is the first time. But look at the 2 letters, okay? The first letter here is the first letter of the alphabet in Hebrew. And the second letter is the last letter of the alphabet. I think this is an encoded message. It's telling us several different things here. In the beginning, God created what? What did he create first? He created the alphabet, the code. Okay? The code, the alphabet, from the beginning to the end. That's what he did first. Okay? And in showing that it's the first and last letter, I think it encompasses everything in between. And because the letters are also used as numbers, I think it is signifying that in the beginning, God first created the code. Okay? The code. And then through the code, the heavens and the earth were then created. But there's something else interesting about that first, or actually the second verse. It goes to say, "And the earth was without form and void. So how do you create something that has no form? Now, granted, water technically doesn't have a form until it's frozen. Then it can take, whatever shape that it's frozen into. And, it becomes a solid. Gases, air has no form, okay? But we're talking about the earth. The earth was without form and void. My take on this, and again, I'm not saying I'm correct, but my take on this is that in the beginning, God created the code. And what it's telling us also when it says that he created the heaven and the earth, he has created the idea of these two objects or these two places. Okay? Because the earth is without form. He simply has the idea of creating it, in which he does through the code. And then it goes on to say that, and God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. Now, that light, when you think of this from a simulation standpoint, a matrix, how would you project your simulation? Okay, remember, if you remember the movie The Matrix, they had what was called the construct, and it was just this vast white emptiness, okay? There was nothing there until they start putting the pieces into the construct. That's where they could load their simulations, their weapons, everything that they needed was in the construct. But when you think of like a movie projector, how does a movie projector project the movie onto the screen? It needs light. It needs light to project it. So that's what I'm thinking this is telling us. In the beginning, God created the code. He had the idea for creating the heavens and the earth. And using the code, the simulation, that's exactly what he's done. And the light, the first light, is projecting that simulation into reality. It's also suggesting something else. God simply said, "Let there be light," and there was light. He just said it. And it manifested. Also suggesting that our thoughts within simulation can be manifested. We can manifest our thoughts. That's why, I believe I've said this before. It's why it's important to be careful what you say. Don't put that out into the universe. Don't put negative thoughts out into the universe, because they can manifest into reality. They can manifest into this simulation. It's incredible when you think of it like that, and when you simply see this Bible code and the fact that we get creator of the world and God is crossing it. It's telling us God is the creator of the world. Also, the simulation, that the world it's a simulation. And that it is loaded. He loaded the earth, everything into the construct. It was loaded in like a program. And we are living out that program, that simulation. And it's happened before. It will happen again. It's showing it right here. And when you stop and think about Genesis, when it talks about the Noah's flood, he reset the simulation then. He reloaded it again. Because the world was kind of like it is now. It was run amok. So he flooded the entire planet. He rebooted it. He reset it. He reloaded the simulation. And just, again, what are the chances of finding these phrases within the Bible itself encoded? And the majority of these words are running diagonally or vertical. It makes sense that the word God is going to show up in the Bible horizontally. Okay? It also makes sense that the word light would show up in the Bible. But look, light is showing up with a skip of 2. There's 2 letters between each letter that makes up the word light. So it's not one letter directly after the other. So that is an encoded message or encoded word in there. Light. Everything else is running vertically or diagonally. Further showcasing that there is, in fact, a hidden code within the Bible code. It's right here. We're looking at it. So again, creator of the world, God, allegory, okay? It's an allegory. The beginning part that we're being shown here or told about, it's an allegory for what actually is taking place. Okay? It's the creation of the simulation that makes up our reality. I mean, it's when you really stop and think about it, to me at least, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Because again, you have a light being created at the very beginning. And it's the light that is not the sun or the moon, as described further below. So this is the light that is projecting the simulation. It's incredibly fascinating. And there's so much here that hopefully it will start to come to light. As you know, as I start digging through this and finding, because I'm hoping, I'm not saying that there will be, but I'm hoping that more of what was encoded over here will show up in the Bible codes, such as the word of the Lord. I am that I am. I know that is in the Bible, but can we find it encoded? Okay? Encoded, where it's not just reading as part of the text, it's showing up in an equidistant letter sequence. And then if we can find more and more connections between this 1111 matrix code, this code within a code, and the Bible code, how much more is going to be revealed? Now, one thought that I had over the weekend too was, we all know for a fact that certain books were left out of the Bible. And if those books were put back into the Bible and inserted into this program, think about it. What is there, or what could possibly be there, that we simply don't have access to because the church has removed those books? Don't know. I mean, simply do not know. So, yeah. That's what I wanted to show you was, again, that matrix that I found this weekend where it shows how do you explain simply having creator of the world and God crossing it? And it seems to be crossing it like directly in the middle because we have 4 letters above and 4 letters below. And like I said, this word or letter right here in blue, which is part of the word God, is also part of the word or the phrase creator of the world. I mean, it really, really just kind of sends your brain into this, like, I don't know, this sort of swirl of possibilities, But again, this is my interpretation of what this could possibly mean, what it could actually be telling us. Yes, it is the creation story, but it's not just so cut and dry that, God created the heavens and the earth, boom, it's just done. Okay, it doesn't go into any detail on how he actually went about doing it. Except we're being told it's an allegory, that there are meanings that lie outside the text. Meanings that lie outside the text. So, is it possible? Is it possible that that's what it's telling us? It's showing us that first God created the mathematical code first. And then from that code, I'm using computer terms here, okay? But from that code, he programmed the simulation. He wrote the program that would run the simulation that has created everything else. Who knows? It's a possibility. It's a possibility. Okay, so that's basically all I have this time. I'm really liking this program, Keys to the Bible. It seems to be working really well. The Advanced Bible Decoder program works, I'm going to say 90% of the time well. There's 10% of the time where it's kicked back some errors, where it says that there's memory issues, which I don't see how because I have 64 gig of RAM in this computer. And really I think the listed amount of RAM that it is, that it requires was like around 4 gigabytes. So I don't know how I'm running out of memory with 64 gig. But yeah, that's one of the errors that it kicks back. Sometimes I've just had it completely crash altogether. The other program, the JLA research program, the one that's free, I actually had it crash on me over the weekend as I was messing around with it. But this one is the only one that hasn't seemed to crash. Also, Code Finder, that one's been working pretty well. I just don't like that you can't copy and paste words from Google Translate into the program. So when you try to highlight and copy a word and paste it in, it just gives you nothing but question marks. So you have to use the on-screen keyboard and type in the word yourself. I mean, it's fine. Just leaves a lot of room for error, for accidentally hitting the wrong key, putting in the wrong letter. If you can just copy and paste, there's less room for error. So, yeah. But Keys to the Bible, this program, I've yet to have it crash. So, knock on wood. Hopefully it doesn't, but it seems to be working pretty well. So that's sort of my recommendation. So for those of you out there who are wanting to try these programs, I would probably go with this one here, Keys to the Bible. It seems to be working quite well. Now, the only thing that I don't like about it is with Code Finder and Advanced Bible Decoder, it allows you to put in a equidistant letter sequence skip into the negative and into the positive. Okay, so you could say minus 1,000 to plus 1,000. Okay, that would be your skip. The Keys to the Bible, and let me show you what I'm talking about here. So let me just actually open the program. So when you're doing a search, so you'll come up here and hit codes and say search codes. So right here, the equidistant skip interval. You can go from a minimum of 1 all the way up to the maximum, okay? So in this case, it looks like the maximum is 149,615, okay? So that's the skip. That's the number of letters or number of the number of letters in between each letter. Now, like I was saying, with the Advanced Bible Decoder or Code Finder, let's go ahead and open up Code Finder real quick. That'll be the easiest one. So, Code Finder. Okay. So this is Code Finder. It's kind of a basic looking program. But up here, we can do a skip from 1 to 1,000, or like I said, actually, we have to load a book in first. So let's go ahead and load in the Tanakh here. So that's loaded in. Okay, so now we can choose minus 1,000 to 1,000. Or you could say minus 1,000 to 5,000 if you wanted to. So you can kind of go both directions or have a much wider skip. But with Keys to the Bible, you cannot go into a negative. You can only go from 1 all the way up to a positive. So I don't know that that makes that much of a difference. It might, but so far, like I said, this program seems to be working incredibly well. And again, I'm not being paid by the people who made the program. I purchased it, was not given to me for free, was not given to me by the company themselves. So I have no sort of endorsement deal with this company at all. It's just, this is my personal preference so far. I want to like the other one, that free one, the JLA research one. It just has such a weird name, but and it looks incredibly extensive. But again, that one you can't copy and paste at all. With Code Finder, you could copy and paste the word in, but it just gives you a bunch of question marks. With the free program, you can't copy and paste anything. It won't accept it. When you try to hit Command V or Control V, depending if you're Mac and Windows, which I am on a Mac, but I have a program that will run Windows. That's how I'm able to do it. But still, it will not allow you to copy and paste. So it kind of sucks. Okay, enough rambling for now. I just wanted to show you this, give you guys something to think about. Is it describing the creation of the simulation? And that the story that we've been told all along is an allegory. It's just an allegory for the true way that this reality was created. It's through the meanings that lie outside of the text that's in the Bible. So just a thought. I just wanted to put it out there and see what your guys' thoughts were and show you this matrix that was found within the Bible and the Bible code. And again, using the program keys to the Bible. So it's less than $60, runs on Windows only. For those of you who are interested, the other great thing about this program is you just have to buy it once, and that's it. Buy it once, you can load it onto as many computers as you want. Same way with Code Finder, same way with the JLA research one, Advanced Bible Decoder Pro. They require that you purchase a copy for every single computer you want to load it on. So, is what it is. I guess for them, it's about making the money. But whatever. So, okay, that's it for now. And until next time, I hope you all take care, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.